Why did the Hays Code change early motion pictures? Have you ever wondered how a set of rules could change the way movies were made? The Hays Code, officially known as the Motion Picture Production Code, did just that. This code imposed strict moral guidelines on film content from the early 1930s through the 1960s. It was introduced by the Motion Picture Producers and Distributors of America under the leadership of Will H. Hays. The goal was to address growing public and governmental concern about what movies were showing, especially regarding profanity, sexuality, violence, and crime. Before the Hays Code took effect, films often featured more explicit or controversial content. This was a time when social attitudes were evolving, and sound technology was opening new doors for storytelling. However, scandals involving Hollywood figures and pressure from religious groups led to a push for self-regulation. The industry wanted to avoid government intervention, so the Hays Code was created. The code established a list of don'ts and be carefuls. It prohibited profanity, nudity, explicit sexual behavior, graphic violence, and sympathetic portrayals of criminals without punishment. Studios had to submit their scripts and final cuts for approval by the Production Code Administration. This organization had the power to demand changes or even block films from being shown. Things got even stricter after 1930 for when the code allied with the Catholic Legion of Decency. This group could organize boycotts, which effectively pressured studios to comply with the code. As a result, films began to reflect conservative values, often avoiding controversial social issues and reinforcing traditional morality. For instance, married couples were shown sleeping in separate beds, and topics like interracial relationships and homosexuality were heavily censored. The Hays Code shaped the artistic and cultural landscape of early motion pictures. It limited filmmakers' creative freedom and influenced the stories that could be told. Characters and themes were often presented in a way that aligned with the dominant social norms of the time. This self-censorship lasted until the 1960s, when changing social attitudes and legal decisions gradually weakened the code. Eventually, it was replaced by the modern film rating system. In the context of foundational cultural and artistic moments in motion picture production, the Hays Code marks a significant milestone. It was a time when the film industry took responsibility for regulating its own content, balancing artistic innovation with societal expectations. The code's influence shaped film narratives and performance styles, reflecting and reinforcing the cultural values of early to mid-20th century America. Understanding the Hays Code helps us see how film content evolved, and how the dialogue between creative expression and social standards continues in cinematic history.